everyone, and welcome to the video, as I promised, about what are the top questions that usually make or break the interview. And I will be talking about the interview that is that in-depth interview that you made it to. It usually happens after the phone screen and whatnot. But those questions could come up in the interview process as you keep moving through the process. So today I'm going to help you get ready on how to actually prepare so you could keep moving through the process. My name is Olga, and I'm the founder of Revenue Hire, the company that helps match the right talent and passions with companies' missions. Okay, so what are those questions? And literally there's infinite number of questions that you could be asked in the interview process. And when you Google it, there is, top 40 questions to be ready for. There's this, there's that. There's so many. And what questions you're going to get asked depends on a couple things. The first one is usually, what is the strategy of the company? Like, what is important to them? Google has their own questions. Facebook has their own questions. So companies that, have a certain strategy, they will have their own questions. If it's a smaller company, sometimes they may not even have an interview process lined up, and you'll get all kinds of, random questions that may not even make sense. And so today what I'm going to share with you, what did I learn after thousands of interviews that I've conducted in terms of where do people kind of lose their footing and the interview starts going sideways. So what are those top 5 questions? Well, the first question is, and this is one of my favorite questions to ask to really get into the nitty-gritty of a person's experience. Because remember, every interview is your opportunity to showcase why are you the perfect candidate for this role, right? And so this first question for me is about, the first question I ask is one of the first questions I ask is that, okay, well, tell me about, what were your accomplishments in this previous role? Now if the resume has some accomplishments, this is what I will be going into the detail and drilling a person on it. So what I'm looking for, and the question is about, what did you accomplish? What impact have you made in your previous roles? And I would go through last 3 to 5 roles, and sometimes it depends. Maybe I'll go to the most relevant role and ask questions about that. But what I'm looking for is what impact have you actually made. So be prepared. Have your numbers, have your examples, know what happened in that role that really made the difference for the company. Because remember, you want to tell your potential employer that you're all about impact. You want to come in and make their life better, not worse. So that's the first question, be prepared for. The second question that I look for is, tell me about the mistakes that you've made at work, the most memorable mistake that you've made. And I am looking for something that is not this surface level thing that could be covered up as an accomplishment. No, I really look forward to what actual mistake or mistakes that are memorable that you've made. And if you can't come up with anything, that is usually a red flag, okay? Because if you don't know, if you haven't made any mistakes, that's the problem. Because I don't care about actual mistakes you made. What I'm going to ask you as a follow-up question would be, what did you learn from those mistakes? Because I want to know, are you the kind of person that is afraid to make any mistakes, which is, you shouldn't really be working because we're all going to make mistakes. I'm looking for somebody who actually owns up to their mistakes and learns from that. Question number 3, tell me about the most, the toughest coaching conversation someone has had with you. And what I'm looking for here is the memory of what was that impactful coaching conversation someone has had with you about either your performance or something that you could get better at. And if you can't come up with anything, again, that's a big red flag for me, because every one of us has had that conversation about something that we didn't do well or we could get better at. God knows I have. And so I love hearing about what was it and what happened afterwards. So what was the toughest coaching conversation someone has had with you? So keep that in mind. The fourth one is, at the end, I usually ask, what questions do you have for me? And this is the key, because if somebody says, oh, I don't have any questions, or ask me the questions that they could have found the answers to online, that's usually not a good thing for me. What I'm looking for is, something specific about the role, something specific about the company. I want to know that you've prepared for this interview and you have a lot of questions and you're interviewing me as much as I'm interviewing you. And that is a super important question to be ready for. And the fifth one and the last one is, at the end, when I'm kind of winding it down, and telling you, this is what's going to happen if you don't hear from me, all of that stuff. What I'm looking for is somebody telling me why are they a good person for this position, especially if you're interviewing for a sales role or for a leadership position role. I may not even ask you, why do you think you're a good fit for this role? I want you to remind me and to close me at the end, that you're all about reminding me at the end, why are you a great person for this job? The most rock stars in their interviews, they do that. They thrive on that, and they say, Olga, before we hang up, I really want to tell you, I'm really excited about this job for 1, 2, 3 reasons, and here's why I'm a perfect fit for this job. So those are the 5 questions. Get ready for those, and make sure you know what the next step is for the next interview. So that's all I have for you today. Let me know if that was helpful. In my next interview, in my next video, I will be talking to you about other things that you need to know, like when do you bring up the compensation, all the miscellaneous things that you need to know about and move forward. And if you have any questions for me, let me know. Thanks guys for listening. I appreciate it, and good luck out there.